Okay, so we are going to go through the steps to do the graph construction project. Me and my research partner found this article that is appropriate for this project. We knew that it was appropriate because it's a single subject research design and it has an ABAB treatment design, which we saw here. We decided to just use the first graph, but we could have used any of them. For this project, we just needed some data points. We weren't specifically looking at the effects of this specific study. So for our ABAB design, we took some of these data points, put them into our Excel sheet, and we're going to make the graph. So for the ABAB design, you will have no treatment or no intervention. And then you'll have this specific study was using the Ayers sensory integration treatment, and that is what we're going to call our intervention. So for our baseline, my research partner, Libs, is going to read me out some data points off of that article.
Yes, we have 20, 29, 20, 28, and 32.
Okay, and then so when we switch to B, which is the treatment phase, we want to move to the second column. So it'll show up appropriately on the graph. So Libs, if you want to go ahead and give me the Ayers data points.
We have 30, 30, 32, 34, and 33.
Okay. And we're going to go back over to our baseline, our no treatment, and get some more data points.
We'll get 20, 29, 30, 30, and 31.
Okay, and then one more time for the Ayers.
We'll do 29, 32, 33, 37, and 36.
Okay, and that is all of our data for this graph. So how we're going to construct the graph is we're going to highlight both columns, including the labels at the top, and then we're going to say insert. And this is a line graph, and we want to do line with markers. Okay, that is what we want it to look like. We're gonna go ahead and name this chart. We'll just name it ABAB. And then it already has our labels on it. So that is what we want for this one. Okay, now we'll go to our alternating treatment. So this ABAB was a little bit easier because that's what they had used in our article, but now we're gonna kind of manipulate these same data points in order to show an alternating treatment graph. So for this one, let's see, we are going to do an alternating treatment with a baseline. So that'll be our first column. And then we're going to use Ayers, like we mentioned before, for one of the treatments. And since we're alternating treatments, we need two other types of treatments. So for this, we used co-op, which is a type of PEDS intervention. Let's see, what else did we use?
Motor learning.
Motor learning.
Mm-hmm.
So for our baseline, Libs is going to give us some points for that. Libs, are you just using some of these same no treatment points?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the one that we have for the no intervention or the baseline, we've got 13, 10, 16, 14, 14, 12, and 16.
Okay, and Libs, can you repeat where you got those numbers? Was that from the article or the?
Those no intervention or the baseline is what we made up. And then the sensory data points were from the article itself.
Right. Okay, go ahead.
So the sensory areas, we do 42, 44, 38, 47, 35, 45, and 41.
Okay, and I believe if this makes a little bit more sense, this was like the article was basically talking about, it was like minutes or seconds that a child could pay attention or something like that with these different interventions. So that explains like why these are so much higher with the interventions. Okay.
And so then with co-op and the motor learning, these are the data points that we made up. And so we made them a little bit lower than the sensory one, I think. So we've got like 30, 28, 27, 31, 33, 30, 26.
Okay. And for motor learning,
We've got 25, 27, 23, 28, 21, 23, and 27.
okay. So yeah, we just made up these numbers and the baseline numbers, but the AIRS numbers came from that article, right, Lubs?
Yes.
Okay. So for the graph for this one, we want to do the same thing. We're going to highlight, and then we're going to insert line with markers. Okay, so we're just going to name this one. And so for this one, what we want to do is insert this vertical line that's at the end of the last point of the baseline to just show that it's like a pause right there. So we want to insert, let's see. It's not line, it's a shape, I think. Yeah, so we went to illustrations, shapes, and then line. And we can just like drag it. Okay, perfect. And then we have our labels down here. So that one looks good. Now we're gonna go to our multiple baseline. And so this one's gonna have like baseline and then AIRS and then baseline and AIRS. And so this one is basically showing, Libs, correct me if I'm wrong, two different patients or two different timelines. They're happening simultaneously, right? So we can see how the treatment affects them at a certain time.
You can have a multiple baseline across subjects, across or across the treatment phases. So I think that we just did multiple baseline with our treatments, where we have a baseline, then we have AIRS, and then the baseline with the AIRS as well.
Perfect. So if you'll go ahead and give me the data points.
We've got 22, 15, 17, and 18.
Okay. And then we're going to go over a column to our AIRS. Go ahead.
25, 27, 24, and 29.
Okay, and then we're going to go over again.
Where you go all the way up to the top for the no behavior for that one, because it's a new graph altogether.
Yes, okay.
It's 21, 17, 12, 19, 15, and 22.
Okay.
And then other ones where you go right there, 28 and 30.
Okay, so this one, we just wanted to make sure we have the same number. So like this will be a graph, and then separately, this will be a different graph. And so we want to make sure we have, I guess that's 8 points for each graph, so that when they line up, you can tell. But we'll see when we make the graph, since this one has more baseline points, It's just showing that at the same time, a different patient is waiting longer to start their treatment. Okay, so first we'll make this graph, do it the same way. Insert line, line with markers. Okay, we're gonna kind of drag this one up, make it a little bit smaller. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this one. Make it the same size. And then we're just gonna go right under it. This is the easiest way to kind of manipulate this on Excel. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this chart title because technically we want it to look like it's one chart. And then for this one, we're just gonna call it multiple baseline. I guess we can say multiple baseline across treatments. Is that right, Loops?
Across subjects, because it's both areas. So both of them have, but it's just showing that a different person. And I think you can move the bottom graph covering up the baseline and areas kind of key at the bottom. So that when you do the line itself.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Do we also do like that?
Just like that. And then you can do the line going down, across, and then down again to show that those are two different subjects. And the second subject just started their actual treatment at a later time.
And we do it at the end of that baseline point, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll do another one. And you can make these like bolder or like darker colored or something. Kind of tricky. Okay, so ideally they would connect. I guess you can make. Okay. Is there anything else, Lips?
I think that's it. And this is on a PC.
Yes. Okay.